From the outside, positive thinking seems like the ultimate solution. Bookshelves are stacked with titles declaring that thoughts become things. Social media is saturated with influencers proclaiming that if you just believe strongly enough, everything will align. But how many of those same people silently struggle behind the scenes, wondering why they're still stuck, still broke, still heartbroken, or still lost despite their best attempts to think positively? The truth Owen Hermstring lays bare in The Law Behind the Laws is that while thoughts are powerful, they are not the root, they are the symptom. And without getting to the root, your affirmations are just echoes in an empty room. In the first chapters of his book, Hermstring writes, "You are not what you think. You are what you accept as real beneath your thoughts. Reality doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your identity." This one statement turns the entire manifestation industry upside down. Because if you're trying to manifest money, while deep inside you feel unworthy, your inner frequency will reject every dollar before it can land. If you're affirming love, but carry a hidden contract of abandonment, you'll sabotage every relationship unconsciously. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe is safe. So why doesn't positive thinking work alone? Because it usually fights the subconscious rather than reprograms it. Imagine trying to plant roses in soil poisoned by years of trauma, shame, and fear. No matter how beautiful the seeds, they won't grow. And this is what most people do. They repeat affirmations, visualize their dream lives, script out their ideal days, but they never go deeper into the core programming that tells them, "You don't deserve this." That inner voice is the real creator of your reality, not the smiling version of yourself saying nice things in the mirror. Hermstring explains that this inner law is like a contract you signed unconsciously as a child. You didn't write it with a pen. You inherited it through repeated experiences. Rejection, criticism, poverty, betrayal. Your nervous system adapted by creating stories to survive. I have to earn love. Money is dangerous. It's safer to be invisible. If I succeed, I'll be alone. These stories became laws in your internal world, and here's the kicker. Unless you rewrite these laws, no amount of vision boarding will override them. Positive thinking is not useless. It's just not the first step. In fact, Hermstring warns that using positivity as a weapon against pain is spiritual bypassing. You can't heal what you won't feel. The missing step, he says, is shadow integration. It means confronting the parts of you you've rejected, the angry child, the insecure teenager, the ashamed adult. Until you meet them with compassion, they will run your life from the shadows. Your shadow isn't blocking your path, he writes. It is the path. This is why so many people say, "I'm doing everything right, but nothing's working." They're trying to manifest from a fractured self. But Hermstring offers a liberating alternative. Stop trying to manifest. Start trying to become. Because when you become someone who feels safe, worthy, empowered, and connected, the universe doesn't need convincing. It mirrors your new frequency effortlessly. In practical terms, this means your morning routine needs to change. Instead of starting with affirmations, start with awareness. Journal your fears. Speak your shame. Sit in silence and listen to the emotions you avoid. Hermstring recommends mirror confession, not where you say positive things, but where you admit the truth. I feel like a fraud. I'm scared of failing. I don't believe I deserve love. When you bring light to those dark corners, the programming begins to loosen. The old contract starts to tear. Only then does positive thinking become powerful, not as a cover-up, but as a reinforcement of a new belief system. When you truly believe you are safe to receive, your affirmations carry the full weight of your energy. Your words are no longer empty. They are encoded with embodiment. So if you've been thinking positively but getting negative results, pause and ask, what deeper story is running my life? Who taught me it wasn't safe to succeed? What contract did I unconsciously sign that is now shaping every outcome? Because the universe isn't ignoring you. It's obeying the frequency you forgot you were broadcasting. Desire is loud. It's magnetic, obsessive, and sometimes even intoxicating. But identity whispers. And yet, in the architecture of the universe, it's not desire that commands reality, it's identity. Owen Hermstring draws a clear line in his book, The Law Behind the Laws, when he writes, "The universe responds to your being, not your begging. If desire were enough, everyone would have everything they want. This one truth dismantles most of what modern manifestation culture teaches. You don't receive what you desire, you receive what you are. Let's say you desire freedom. You visualize it, affirm it, even chase it. But deep within, your identity is still shaped by fear. You grew up in a house where freedom was punished, where independence meant danger, where visibility invited criticism. So even though you crave freedom with all your heart, your nervous system equates it with risk. As Hermstring explains, the subconscious chooses safety over desire every single time. Identity is the vault code to the reality you live in. In other words, the universe isn't responding to what you write in your journal. It's responding to who you become when no one is watching. And most of us are unconsciously loyal to an outdated self-image. We keep trying to manifest abundance while carrying the identity of someone who always has to fight for scraps. We try to call in love while secretly believing we are too broken to be chosen. These internal contradictions cancel out our intentions. We think the universe is slow. But in truth, we are sending mixed signals. Hermstring offers a powerful metaphor. Your identity is the password to the quantum field. You can't fake your way into a higher frequency. You must embody it. This means the real work is not thinking more positively or desiring more intensely. It's identifying the outdated roles you've been playing and stepping out of them. Maybe you've been the martyr, the victim, the lone wolf, the underdog, the people pleaser. These identities once kept you safe, but now they keep you small. And the universe only gives you what aligns with the story you keep telling yourself about who you are. This is where most people feel stuck. They want to change, but they keep reinforcing their old identity through language and behavior. I'm just not a confident person. I'm terrible with money. I always attract emotionally unavailable people. These aren't just statements, they are spells. And every time you speak them, you're broadcasting a signal into the energetic field that says, "Keep me here." Hermstring's solution: identity interruption. He suggests consciously disrupting the patterns that reinforce who you don't want to be. That might mean saying no when you'd usually say yes, taking the risk you always avoid, dressing, speaking, or walking like the version of you haven't yet fully claimed. It's not about pretending, it's about rehearsing. Neuroscience backs this up. The brain doesn't distinguish between a real memory and an imagined one vividly rehearsed with emotion. So every time you act from a higher identity, even before it feels natural, you're training your subconscious to accept it as real. And once it accepts it, your energetic signature changes. And when that changes, the universe finally has permission to respond differently. Hermstring calls this process identity sculpting. He writes, "Your soul already knows who you are. Manifestation is just the process of remembering." This reframes everything. Instead of chasing outcomes, you start cultivating alignment. Instead of trying to convince the universe to give you something, you become someone who naturally receives it. You don't attract love, you remember that you are lovable. You don't chase wealth, you align with the truth that your presence is valuable. The outer world then shifts to mirror that inner realization. Here's a powerful practice Hermstring offers. Every morning ask yourself, who would I be if I already had what I wanted? Then live one small piece of that answer. It could be how you speak to yourself, how you handle your time, how you walk into a room. Identity is not built in one giant leap. It's built in thousands of small moments of congruence. So if you've been desiring with all your might, but seeing little change, it's time to stop pushing and start becoming. Because your identity is the thermostat of your life. No matter how hot your desire burns, you'll always return to the level your identity is set to. Raise that, and everything changes. Fear has a clever way of disguising itself as desire. You think you're chasing a dream, but you're actually running from a nightmare. In Owen Hermstring's The Law Behind the Laws, he explains that most people are not manifesting from true alignment with their higher self, but from a survival instinct rooted in fear. They say they want abundance, but what they actually want is to escape scarcity. They say they want love, but deep down they are just terrified of being alone. And that fear, no matter how well dressed in positivity, is still fear. And the universe doesn't respond to your words or your wishes, it responds to your frequency. This is one of the most overlooked truths in manifestation. You might be scripting, visualizing, meditating, and repeating affirmations, but if the energy behind your practice is one of desperation, lack, or urgency, You're sending out a signal that contradicts everything you're trying to create. As Hermstring writes, desire born from fear is not creation, it is compensation. In other words, if you're trying to manifest something just to stop feeling insecure, anxious, or broken, you're trying to fix your reality with the same energy that created it. That never works. Let's break it down. Fear-based manifestation often sounds like this. I need more money because I'm scared I'll lose my home. Or, I need a partner because I'm tired of feeling worthless. These are cries for rescue, not calls for alignment. And the universe, which operates through the mirror of your vibration, cannot reflect a reality of peace and power when you are broadcasting panic and self-doubt. It simply echoes your internal state. Hermstring describes this as the emotional blueprint that quietly sabotages your conscious intentions. You say you're manifesting success, but your inner child still believes that success means being judged or abandoned. You say you want to be seen, but deep down you're terrified of exposure. So you manifest mixed results, confusing delays or short-term wins that collapse under pressure. This isn't because you're doing it wrong. It's because the frequency you're broadcasting is still fear. The remedy? Awareness. Hermstring emphasizes that the first step in shifting from fear-based to aligned manifestation is radical honesty. Ask yourself, why do I really want this? Is it because I love the vision or because I can't stand where I am? That one question reveals everything. If your desires are a reaction to pain, you must first meet that pain. Otherwise, you're just layering over it with spiritual duct tape, hoping it doesn't leak. True alignment happens when your desires come from wholeness, not lack. You want to create because you feel inspired, not because you feel broken. You want to share your gifts because they overflow from you, not because you think they'll finally make you worthy. You want love because you already know you are love, not because you're trying to fill a void. Hermstring writes, manifestation is not a negotiation with the universe. It is a declaration of who you are becoming. When you make this shift, everything changes. You stop begging and start aligning. You stop chasing and start receiving. Your energy calms, your nervous system relaxes, and your intuition becomes louder than your fear. Suddenly, synchronicities appear. Opportunities find you. People treat you differently, not because the world changed, but because you did. Hermstring also shares a powerful exercise. Identify one desire you've been holding on to. Then, trace it back to its emotional root. Ask yourself, what am I really trying to avoid or fix by having this? If the answer is rooted in fear, pause. Don't abandon the desire, but cleanse the frequency behind it. Meditate on how it would feel to want that thing from a place of expansion instead of urgency. Rewrite the story. For example, instead of I want money so I never feel powerless again, shift to I want to expand into new levels of abundance so I can create more freely. Instead of I want love so I'm not lonely, shift to I want to experience love that reflects the deep peace I already feel inside. It might sound like semantics, but energetically, it's a seismic shift. Remember, the universe is always listening to your essence, not your effort. If your essence is fear, that's what you perpetuate. If your essence is peace, joy, trust, then everything you want can finally recognize you. So the next time you set an intention or make a vision board, pause. Check the energy behind it. Are you planting seeds in soil nourished by love or poisoned by panic? Because no matter how beautiful the seed, it can't bloom if the soil is toxic. Clean the soil. Align your frequency. Then watch the universe meet you there. Many people adopt positive affirmations or visualize success hoping to attract the life they dream of, yet they remain frustrated when their outer circumstances don't shift. Why? Because the universe doesn't respond to surface-level desire, it responds to inner identity. This is one of the most misunderstood yet pivotal truths Owen Hermstring emphasizes in The Law Behind the Laws. You don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are. At first glance, this may seem unfair. Why can't a person simply want something deeply enough to bring it into existence? Because wanting implies lack. The vibration of wanting says, I don't have this yet. On the energetic plane, that vibration repels the very thing you're seeking. The universe isn't responding to your words, it's responding to your frequency. and frequency is produced by the identity you carry inside. Consider someone repeating, "I am wealthy, I am abundant," but who deep down still sees themselves as the broke kid who never had enough. Their conscious mind may be projecting success, but their subconscious mind is still wired for scarcity. According to Hermstring, this contradiction creates what he calls vibrational dissonance. It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and the other on the brake. Nothing moves. This is why the process of reprogramming isn't just about changing thoughts, it's about shifting identity. Hermstring writes that most people live under identities formed by trauma, social programming, and inherited beliefs. They carry around silent contracts. "I'm not worthy, I must struggle, love has to be earned, I'll never be enough." These identities become energetic anchors that bind them to specific realities, relationships that hurt, jobs that suffocate, finances that stay stuck. To truly manifest change, you must become someone new on the inside. This doesn't mean faking it. It means embodying a higher version of yourself with integrity. Hermstring suggests beginning with what he calls silent integration. This practice isn't loud or performative. It happens in solitude. You sit with the old identity, thank it for trying to protect you, and then choose to adopt a new internal blueprint that aligns with the life you want. One powerful passage from the book reads, "The universe mirrors your being, not your begging. If you want to see something different, you must first be something different." This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it begins the moment you stop reaching outside for validation and start tuning inward for alignment. Identity is built through repetition, environment, and emotional consistency. Every time you show up as the future version of yourself, even in small private moments, you reinforce that identity until it becomes natural. For instance, someone who wants to attract love must not just say, "I want a loving relationship." They must first become someone who is loving to themselves. They must stop tolerating disrespect and stop abandoning themselves for approval. That identity shift sends a signal to the universe. I am someone who is loved and respected, and the universe responds in kind. Hermstring also warns of the danger of staying in wishful frequency. This is when people fantasize about a life they're not energetically ready to receive. That fantasy can become a trap, keeping them addicted to hope, but resistant to change. Identity work is uncomfortable. It requires grieving old versions of yourself. It demands accountability, self-honesty, and courage, but it is the only path to manifesting sustainably. Ultimately, manifestation is a mirror, and your life reflects the person you believe yourself to be. That's why someone can suddenly change their self-worth and almost instantly start attracting better treatment, new opportunities, and healthier connections. They've realigned their internal code, and the universe follows suit. So if your life feels stuck, if you're wondering why things never shift, ask not what you want, ask who you are. Because when your identity is congruent with your desires, manifestation is no longer a struggle. It's a natural consequence. While many people chase external goals through effort and strategy, Owen Hermstring suggests that real transformation happens at a subtler level through emotion. In The Law Behind the Laws, he points out that emotion is the energetic language the universe speaks fluently. More than thoughts or affirmations, it's your emotional state that transmits your dominant frequency. The universe, like a perfect mirror, reflects back what you're emotionally radiating, not what you're intellectually intending. It's a powerful idea, and also a confronting one, because it means you can't fake your way into alignment. You might say the right things, write goals on vision boards, even take consistent action, but if the emotional frequency underneath all that is fear, anxiety, or unworthiness, those are the signals you're actually sending, and the universe responds accordingly. Hermstring uses the metaphor of a tuning fork. If your emotional state vibrates at a frequency of abandonment, you'll tune into experiences, people, and outcomes that match that vibration, even if all you say you want is connection and love. That's why emotional honesty is the first step toward real energetic clarity. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. This is where many people get stuck. They suppress low emotions because they believe positivity is the key to manifestation. But Hermstring clarifies that ignoring your pain doesn't raise your frequency. It just creates distortion. He writes, "You don't elevate your frequency by pretending. You rise by integrating, by allowing your emotions to pass through you without becoming your identity." That means learning to feel your emotions without becoming controlled by them, to observe sadness without collapsing into it, to notice fear without letting it drive your decisions. When you stop resisting your emotional state, you create space for it to shift naturally. And once it shifts, your frequency rises, not artificially, but authentically. Think of emotional energy as the undercurrent of every interaction. You can walk into a room and feel if someone's energy is heavy, even if they're smiling. That's the power of emotional frequency. It's a silent force that either opens or closes doors, often without a word being spoken. And because energy precedes form, your emotional state is constantly shaping your reality long before events unfold. Hermstring describes a process he calls emotional tuning, where you become deeply aware of the emotional signals you send in your day-to-day life, noticing how you feel when you speak to certain people, how your energy reacts in specific environments, and how your body responds to your own thoughts. This level of self-awareness isn't easy, but it's essential if you want to shift your outcomes. One powerful practice he recommends is emotional alchemy, transforming the emotional charge of a situation by naming the feeling, feeling it fully, and then choosing a new emotional state that aligns with your intention. For example, if you feel abandoned, you sit with that feeling without judging it. Then you begin to breathe in the feeling of worthiness, remembering a time when you felt truly seen and loved. With repetition, this new emotion starts to become your dominant frequency, and the universe adjusts. What's crucial to understand is that the universe isn't punishing you when things go wrong. It's simply reflecting the emotional blueprint you carry within. This is why Hermstring emphasizes that your emotions are not your enemy. They are your compass. When you feel out of alignment, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's a sign that something inside you is ready to be healed. As your emotional frequency evolves, so does your outer world. New opportunities begin to appear. People treat you differently. You feel lighter, more clear, and more magnetic. You stop chasing and start attracting. Not because you became perfect, but because your emotional signature now resonates with what you've always wanted. This is the missing piece most people overlook. They work hard, stay positive, and still wonder why things aren't changing. The answer is almost always energetic. And emotion is the bridge. Until your emotional state shifts, your reality remains the same. So if you want to know what you're really manifesting, stop asking what you're thinking, start asking what you're feeling. Because your emotional frequency is the true request the universe hears. And when it shifts, everything else begins to follow. One of the most confronting truths in Owen Hermstring's The Law Behind the Laws is this: the universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you believe you deserve. This is not a punishment. It is a reflection. In his words, reality is not biased, it's responsive. It doesn't filter through your fantasies. It listens to your energetic core. Many people don't realize that the greatest block to their manifestations isn't the complexity of their goals, the time it takes, or external resistance. It's the inner belief that they are not enough. Deep down, they fear that no matter how much they ask, try, or pray, they won't be chosen, that they'll be overlooked, that they're not worthy of the life they dream about. Hermstring is blunt about this. Your level of self-worth sets the upper limit of what you allow yourself to receive. It's not about arrogance or ego. It's about alignment. If you're trying to manifest a life of love, abundance, purpose, but your core frequency screams, "I am not enough," the universe must respond to that frequency, not the fantasy built over it. This is the invisible ceiling that so many never break through. He describes this inner dissonance as the frequency of contradiction. You think one thing, say another, and feel something completely different. You might recite mantras about abundance, but your nervous system is still wired to fear lack. You might envision love, but expect abandonment. This incoherence confuses the energetic field around you, and nothing stable can form from a foundation of confusion. To reprogram your frequency, Hermstring says you must begin with the question, what do I believe I deserve, and why? Most people never ask this. They set goals but never interrogate the emotional permission behind them. And if they do, the answers that rise are often rooted in childhood, in moments where they were shamed, ignored, or punished for expressing their needs. Those moments didn't just hurt, they taught them that having desires was dangerous. That's why Hermstring emphasizes that manifestation is not just about vision, it's about repair. You must repair the internal narrative that tells you love is conditional, success is scarce, or happiness is selfish. And that begins by recognizing that your self-worth is not a result of your outcomes. It's the source of them. You don't wait to succeed to feel worthy. You feel worthy, and that opens the door to success. One of the most powerful exercises Hermstring offers is a simple mirror practice. Every day, look into your own eyes and repeat, "I deserve what I desire. I am safe to receive it." At first, this feels mechanical. But over time, it bypasses the analytical mind and begins to land in your emotional body, where real shifts occur. The more comfortable you become with receiving emotionally, the more you allow receiving physically. What's important here is that you don't have to force anything. You don't have to fight to be chosen. You don't have to prove your worth. That's the old energy of survival. The new energy Hermstring teaches is about remembering that you are already enough, not because you earned it, but because existence itself is the proof of your worthiness. You are here. That is the sign. When you operate from this remembered worth, the universe responds. Not instantly, but steadily. People begin to treat you differently because your energy no longer tolerates disrespect. Opportunities arise that mirror your new frequency of confidence. You stop begging the world to validate your worth and begin embodying it, which is the most magnetic thing a human can do. This is not a one-time shift, it's a daily practice, because the world will still test you. Old doubts will whisper, but now you will have the awareness to pause and ask, is this true? Or is this a shadow of my old frequency trying to return? And you'll choose again. You'll affirm your worth not just with words, but with decisions, with boundaries, with self-respect. Hermstring's message is clear. Self-worth is not a feeling, it's a frequency, and it is always broadcasting. The question is whether yours is aligned with what you truly want or what you've simply settled for. When you raise your worth, you raise your life, not by force, by resonance, because the universe cannot help but echo what you believe you are worthy of receiving. In The Law Behind the Laws, Owen Hermstring speaks of a principle most seekers overlook in their quest for manifestation. Authenticity is the master frequency. While many try to manifest through borrowed words, second-hand affirmations, or exaggerated desires crafted to impress others, the universe remains unmoved, not because it is cruel, but because it is exact. It does not respond to pretense, it responds to resonance. At the core of this principle is the idea that the universe is not a judge. It is a mirror. It does not give you what you pretend to be. It gives you what you are. This is why Hermstring often warns about the dangers of manifesting from a false identity. When your vision is built on ego, social comparison, or fear of missing out, the results, even if they appear, are hollow, temporary, unstable, because they were never truly yours. Authenticity, in Hermstring's language, is not about being emotionally raw or sharing everything with everyone. It's about being energetically true, aligning your inner world with your outer expression. When what you feel, think, say, and do are aligned, you become coherent. And coherence is magnetic. It creates a clear frequency that the universe can recognize, respond to, and amplify. This is why so many feel like they're doing everything right. But still, nothing changes. They follow routines, speak affirmations, visualize consistently, but they are doing so from a space of performance, not presence. They are trying to become someone they don't yet feel like. The universe, Hermstring insists, cannot be tricked by words. It reads vibration, and the most powerful vibration is truth. A key passage from the book says, "You cannot lie your way into alignment. You can only remember your way into authenticity. The closer you are to your truth, the clearer your signal. And the clearer your signal, the faster the response." This is why the first step in manifestation is not asking, it's remembering who you are underneath what the world told you to be. The moment you reclaim your real values, your real desires, and your real essence, even if it feels simple or small, your energy sharpens. You stop sending mixed messages. You stop manifesting chaos, because now you are broadcasting a single clean signal. This is me. Authenticity doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be honest. That means acknowledging your fears, admitting your wounds, and releasing identities that were never yours. It means choosing desires not because they are trending, but because they resonate in your bones. It means living in a way that even if no one applauds, you still feel peace because you are aligned. Hermstring encourages a practice called energetic decluttering. This is not about throwing away physical things, but about cleaning out energetic debris. Pretending to want what you don't, saying yes when you mean no, staying silent when your truth wants to speak. Every time you act out of alignment to please others, you dilute your frequency. And a diluted frequency attracts scattered results. The power of authenticity is that it's sustainable. You don't have to remember a script or keep up an image. You simply show up as you are and trust that that is enough. And in doing so, you unlock a deeper flow. The people who belong to your path find you. The opportunities meant for your energy arrive. The universe does not hesitate when it meets a soul unafraid to be itself. This final law, the law of energetic truth, is the key that unlocks all others. Because once you are honest about who you are and what you truly desire, your energy no longer fights itself. It flows. And that flow is what the universe responds to. Not your perfection, not your performance, but your presence. As Hermstring closes this section, he writes, "The universe does not reward masks. It rewards mirrors, souls who dare to reflect what is real, even when it is raw." If you feel like your manifestations have stalled, maybe it's not a lack of vision, but a lack of alignment. Perhaps it's time to stop trying to attract what looks good and instead start becoming what feels true. Because when your energy is rooted in authenticity, your life cannot help but bloom into something that fits you, fully, honestly, and beautifully.